Welcome to the Heron Heads podcast. My name is Julio, and I'm joined today by some friends and fellow Inter Miami fans, Dave, Chris, and Jose. And on behalf of the guys, we want to thank you for joining us for episode 12 here on the Heron Heads podcast, your first stop for all things Inter Miami. For those of you watching on YouTube and joining us live for the first time, thanks for stopping by, and make sure you hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoy the show. Before we begin, we'd like to take a minute to thank our supporters on Patreon. Shout out to Art, Brian, Kevin, and James. Thank you so much for your support. If you feel so inclined to support us on Patreon, you will find a link in the description wherever you are listening. And if you don't feel so inclined, that's totally okay too. We appreciate you being here. All right, so that was something. Inter Miami versus Nashville finishes 0-0. Nashville played us in a deep block pretty much all match. And other than a few fleeting, brief moments, there weren't a ton of great opportunities for either team, and you could argue really that Nashville had the better opportunities were it not for some really great defending by Kamal Miller, Yedlin. The whole defense really chipped in. But before we get too far into that, how are we feeling? Chris, are you still awake after that match?
Barely. So I hate to say it, I was somewhat right with my prediction. We got that tie, the dreaded tie. None of us wanted it, obviously. I predicted it just because of what I saw from what I've seen, their defense was very, very good. Our offense is obviously great, but for some reason they play us so well, and we could talk about it coming up. But yeah, they tied it up. It didn't happen exactly how I imagined it to happen. There was really no offense going on at all. The attack was just stagnant the whole match. So it's a shame. We got our point. At least we didn't come out without anything. So we got to look forward, and hopefully I think we have a few games that we could either tie, hopefully not lose, but we do have these World Cup games coming up. So we're going to be missing a lot of people. So we just got to collect as many points as we can and just keep going forward.
I'm surprised that we managed to get Chris on this live stream. I thought he would be waiting for pens.
That was a brain fart. Come on.
Yeah, I'm just messing with you. No, it's I'm disappointed. I know we came away with the point, but I thought it was going to be a close game before I found out that Zimmerman was out. And then once I saw that Zimmerman was completely off, not even on the bench, and I saw Mucked wasn't starting, and I saw a bunch of their attackers weren't on to start with, and I'm like, okay, they're going to be more defensive, but I expected more. I know that was their game plan to muck it up, but I just felt that we had enough pieces out there to begin the game that we could definitely get something going a little earlier. And those last minutes we showed a little bit of frustration, a little bit of we were forcing it, and we saw some opportunities that came late, but you'd like to see that was a little bit of urgency from the beginning. Again, we've shown time and time again when we get that first goal how we play well with that momentum, and we were complacent and we were just sitting back on this game. And I would like to see a little bit of a difference if this type of scenario comes before us.
These are the kind of games that we as Americans go ahead. Now we're gonna see all of the comments about how we're stupid Americans watching their game and we suck. I get it, but this is the kind of game where Americans fear, where you've spent 90 plus minutes watching a game and it ended in a tie 0-0, the worst outcome. Now if you actually break it down and look into the game, we actually were dominating most of the game. I mean, what I asked before the game started was that we increase our possession from the first time that we played them, and that we increase our shots on target. We did both. So it's one of those things where it's like, man, it's like we probably should have won the game. But even with all that going our way, I still feel like we had a bad game, which is weird, right? Like we weren't able to play liquid football like we usually do. We never had those spurts. Like we're obviously not going to have that throughout the game, right? Because we're having subs, we're having guys get tired and all stuff. But we usually have a few nice spurts of just like beautiful movement, and I never felt like we were able to get it going. And I almost feel like we haven't been able to get it going since the last game as well. Last game we had a few spurts, but it's becoming a fewer far between.
I think teams are realizing that they are not going to have possession. And their realization of that comes with a strategy on defense of just sitting in a low block and making it very difficult for us to play in that free form way. Nashville, the whole match basically they played a 4-4-2, and they sat with that minimum 8 people just way back, way deep, compressing the middle, making space very hard to find, specifically for Messi, who was tucked into the middle most of the match, it felt. And you could see him every time he was waiting for a pass. There were 2, 3, 4 people around him, and they made it difficult for him to even get the ball. Once he got the ball, he typically found space, but even then, you saw him play a couple passes into alleyways where players, when we were playing more liquid, were finding, and those alleys were not there in this match. And we've been seeing that more and more as Messi has played more for our team. So I think that's going to be something very common that we see. We're going to hold a lot of possession, but oftentimes we're going to find ourselves with empty possession.
Excellent defense. They played exactly what I mean. Ultimately, like in the group chat, we were talking about it. Like, are they gonna like make any substitutions for offense, or this is what they want to do? Just defense. I mean, that's what they did. They did just straight defense. They're like, okay, well, we're not gonna outscore you, but we're not gonna let you score. And it's funny. We always talked about it in these podcasts that will there ever be a game where he can't be Messi? And this was one of the ones that I would say that was it. I mean, the first Nashville game, I would say it was kind of that, but he still had his moments, right? This was a rough game all around for everybody.
This is exactly where you need not Messi to step up. Like, you need the others to do something. Taylor had 2 really good opportunities, both from Messi, but those are the chances when you play a team that's playing a low block, you have to capitalize on those chances. Otherwise, it's really because the chances are going to come so few and far between that if you don't capitalize on them, they're just going to sit and stay in that block. They have no incentive to get out of it. So really, if you're not taking advantage of those chances, that you're screwed. You're screwed. And to Nashville's credit, they did at halftime bring on Mucked and Schaffelberg. So they did open up the match, but they still stayed very sound defensively.
Yeah, they did try to open it up offensively. And just to go back to Messi and the defense on him, I think when McNulty played a really good game against him, it seems like he was on him like white on rice. He was always trying to do a little standing tackle just on top of him, kind of just pushing him around. And I might have, he mucked it up. He mucked it up, like Jose likes to say. So it was good defense. Credit to him.
My 2 things that really stuck out like a sore thumb all game was, I think this might have been Alba's worst game with us. I think he felt the pressure that they were dishing out on him, and I think he either forced passes or missed passes or misplayed a lot of balls that I'm just not accustomed to seeing Jordi Alba do. And another thing that stuck out was, I know it's always our endless debate is whether to start Martinez or Campana, but Campana being out until the mid second half substitutions, that hurt us a lot, especially when everything is so mucked up and we're having such a tough time getting normal passes off, ground passes off, because they're playing so many people centrally. That's when you want to be able to play something over the top and have that size in the box. And we saw a few times where they crossed it in or tried to cross it into Martinez, and it's just the most toothless attack. And nothing ever comes from that. He tried to do one amazing bicycle kick that you give him props for even attempting it, but it's just, that's not the best way to use Martinez. He's not a point man in the middle of the box. So we need to realize when we have that mismatch, and we need to execute that and put him in a little earlier.
I think it's part of the reason why Alba had a bad game is he constantly was in positions to cross the ball, and he would look up, and there was just you almost could see him wanting to lift his arms up and being like, what am I supposed to do? And when you're playing a team that's so defensively sound like Nashville, there's no gaps to play the low crosses because everyone's where they're supposed to be. But when you have a Campana, when you have any sort of height in the box, at least you can have an aerial threat where there are better angles to get a pass in there. And Joseph doesn't bring it. We tried crossing it to him once, and maybe twice. He had like a bicycle kick, but the ball never got to him, and he had another one where the ball just sailed over. And we said in the chat, Campana would have gotten his head to that, and it's just going to be difficult. Martinez needs to find a way.
He tries to stop them with his chest.
Yeah,
and at that point, the attack is dead because they can catch up to him. It's not like he can do anything amazing off of that. So it's
frustrating. It's frustrating.
The only thing with Alba that I would say, because I'm an Alba fan, is that it's kind of hard for him to to do what he usually does, because he's one of the guys that hasn't really gotten any rest. Like, think about it. He has not gotten rest. He wasn't subbed on. He wasn't subbed off. He's played every single game since we started, and obviously,
Yeah, but that's not a reason to miss a wide open Gomez in the middle of the box. Rest
Right.
has nothing to do with that.
That was rough.
That was a gimme. And he didn't hit it, unfortunately. I love Jordy too. We all love Jordy. He's been great for us so far, but you gotta call a spade, right?
He's entitled to a bad game. Everybody, they're all human. So just saying he had a bad game doesn't mean that we hate him or anything. It's just, like Chris said, calling a spade a spade.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in that situation, it's not FIFA. It's not a simulation, and they're not going to hit every single time, or every pass is not going to go directly where they want. I think it's interesting that you mentioned Jordy playing every minute. I think on the broadcast they said Calendar. There's one other player, Arroyo, it might have been, that has played in every match, at least in some capacity.
Kamal Miller too, hasn't he?
But wasn't Miller out in one of the matches? When they mentioned Miller had played every match, I thought to myself, he might have missed one, but I guess now I'm thinking like maybe he hasn't.
Yeah, I feel like he's been out there every match.
He has been every. I mean, he was phenomenal today.
Miller was outstanding. He saved us the point that we got, and we are disappointed with the point. But if it weren't for Kamal Miller, we would have gotten 0 points out of tonight's match.
And he had arguably the most fun run of the entire game when he just took it box to box and looked like a freight train. Well, they were paving the path for him. They were just saying, go right through. And you know what? To his credit, he went through.
Yeah. During the match, when he went on that run, we tweeted out that Kamal Miller is becoming Antonio Rudiger right in front of our eyes, because a couple things. When he made a last-ditch tackle on Hani Mukhtar, who was on a breakaway, and as soon as he made that tackle and the ball was cleared into our possession, he turns to the crowd and pumps them up. That's what we need in a game like this, is those moments like that to become the galvanizing point. And at that moment, I was like, oh, we got something going now. And then he goes on the little run, and I'm like, next thing I know, he's going to be high-stepping down the field.
Yeah, the broadcast even mentioned, I think, that supposedly Tata spoke to him and told him, hey, use your athleticism. Don't overthink it. Attack when you can. And, I mean, it looks like he's been doing it since Tata's been here. He's an athletic man.
So much better.
He's a big dude. And it seems like he has, if he gets an opportunity to do it, he'll do it. We saw it tonight.
Multiple times we saw it tonight from him. Even handling it in the back line. There's some times where people were trying to steal the ball from him, and he made them look stupid a few times. So
when he went on that little run, he dribbled around a player pretty effortlessly. He did like a little croqueta move, and then it was gone. And it was like, whoa, who is this guy looking like Messi out here? Maybe he's been training one-on-one with him.
That's our Canadian. That's our Canadian. National team player.
That's why all our players are getting called up to their national teams, because they all want that Messi intel.
It was pretty impressive. So let's just go through a couple stats. I took some notes as usual, and first 15 minutes of the game pretty much set the stage for the whole match. We had 72% possession. We finished the game on just over 72% possession, so nothing changed from there. And we ended the half with all that possession, no shots on target. And Taylor had a really good chance, he had two good chances in the first half to really make Panico work. And on the one that was more clear, Messi plays a ball over the top. Taylor gets it at the top of the box. And if he had I think he was just so tunnel visioned. If he had Martinez running into a wide open alleyway, and Martinez would have been able to run up to the shot and have just a very dangerous opportunity. and Taylor instead just turns and just blasts it, and it goes just off target. And there was one that he had that deflected off a defender that was incorrectly given as a goal kick, but what are you going to do? He was forcing it tonight, which is disappointing because he was started in a more comfortable position.
Yeah, that's
a more comfortable role.
That's what I was going to say, is that these opportunities came with him playing winger. And then I think a lot of our problems then started showing up when they moved him centrally, when they brought on Facu. And yeah, I mean, we gotta stop doing that to Robert Taylor. I mean, I think he's a fine player, but he's not what he's not. He isn't what he isn't. So like we got to keep him where he is. Sorry, I'm not getting tongue tied there. We got to keep him on the wing. I think what he does on the wing is great for us. We can work off of that. Other players know what to expect from him on the wing. He doesn't know what to do centrally. He doesn't know where to be, and even less so at wing back. Like, never play him on defense, for the love of God. Like that needs to end. But if you're gonna put him at wing, fine. If you're gonna move him off the game completely. There's no need to experiment there. We have other players that can play. There's no need to put him in a jeopardizing spot like that.
No, and the thing is that I don't know if I liked usually we clamor for Facundo a lot here, right? I don't know if he really helped us out a lot today either. If we're honest, like there weren't a lot of people stepping up today. Facu didn't do very well. I mean, I'm looking at their game. The game, they're at 6.9 for Robert Taylor, 6.7 for Facundo. Arroyo had a 6.5, Alba 6.8. Like, all that whole side just had a horrible, like, that's a below average game. Everyone. The only guys that had an okay game were Kamal Miller, Sergio Busquets, and Lionel Messi.
Yeah, but I think that's a credit to their defense. Like we said, the defense played really, really well. So obviously their ratings aren't going to be as great. I think Facu, he came in strong and hot, but like Julio said in our chat, he kind of just slowed down as the second half went on, and he started making some bonehead plays and not taking the right shots or making the right passes. When he first came in, he had a beautiful rocket from the right side, I believe.
Great shot.
And man, on goal, beautiful shot.
On target.
And I even said, I was like, oh, I put Facu because that was beautiful. And I was excited because I've been dying to see him. But yeah, after that, he kind of just simmered down and we didn't see that anymore.
He also got in his own head trying to force it, it felt like. Whereas in previous games, it felt like he was so free-flowing and it came so naturally. In this game, it really felt like he was forcing. He was like trying to get the ball to Messi at all costs, and it forced a couple turnovers, and he had other open players. I mean, yeah, okay, I see Jose making faces. Like, obviously you want to get the ball to Messi. Yeah, obviously you want to get the ball to Messi. And
I'm going to give it to him. I'm not going to give it to David.
But listen, sometimes Messi is generating space for your other players to have the ability to make something happen. Okay, obviously it goes without saying that Messi is the best player on the pitch on either side, and you want the ball at his feet whenever possible. But sometimes it's not possible. And sometimes Messi is doing things specifically so that other people have space to do something that will put the opposition under duress.
Yeah, I saw often they were passing it into Messi when he was closely guarded by 5 people. If he's that guarded by 5 people, play around him. He'll come open when they start guarding others. If he wants to get himself into traffic with 5 people, that's a different story. I'm not saying that if he has 5 people around him, he shouldn't have the ball, but you shouldn't be passing him the ball when he has that many people around him. But I also, part of the thing that I noticed is we noticed a lot of our younger guys were pressing. I think part of that is because they look to guys like Busquets and Alba as a calming presence on the pitch, and I didn't get that feeling from Alba and Busquets in this game. They were pressing a little bit too. They were definitely annoyed and bothered by Nashville. Busquets could have had a yellow card much earlier. He ended up getting it there. He put his hands on the ref repeatedly. Alba got one at the end of the first half. It's just, you could tell. And Alba at the end of the first half, what did he do? He launched the ball after regulation. He launched the ball.
Yeah.
They were frustrated, and when your pillars of stability are shaky, it tends to have repercussions throughout.
You know who wasn't at all, and it felt free, and they felt free like a bird. And as soon as they came in, it was a breath of fresh air. Cremaschi. He came in, and it just like he was part of the office the whole game, and he was like, "Oh, here, let's go there," and it was just like very nice, and it felt very, very just it felt free flowing, like we've been used to.
Yeah,
Like, if why wasn't he in the whole game? That kind of thing. You know what I mean?
it was like three. It was like a 3-play sequence where he just made the right play after the right
Yeah.
play, defensive stop, good pass, good
Yeah.
run. It was just like, man, I'm in love. I'm in love with the kid. Thank God. I'm so happy he's from this area. It makes it fills my heart with joy that I get to root for somebody who's homegrown and now you get to see him play for the national team a little bit. So I'm really, really happy with his development, and I feel like I'm a broken record every time he steps on the pitch. That he's improving every time I see him out there, and that is nice to see.
Yeah, Cremaschi had a good day. Shout out to him for being called up to the U.S. men's national team. We'll see when he declares what side he declares for. That'll be interesting. A lot of chatter on Twitter today was, does he deserve to be called up over some other players? And I don't know. We'll see.
I was listening to pregame. They were saying that he was called up for the under-20s before, and Phil Neville had kind of talked him out of it to say that he would develop more as part of the Inter Miami program. I don't know if that's selfish on Phil Neville's part, or either way, it seems to have worked out for Cremaschi. So what's in the past is in the past.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you, some of the guys on the message board. One thing that I've noticed, and I agree with them. Our first touch, and you just messaged them, Julio. Like, it's true. They had a really bad first touches. A lot of times that they were just trying to just get something going. It was just a dumb turnover after dumb turnover. It's something to think about. Where, yeah, okay, was Nashville, were they great defensively like they always are? Yeah, they were. But I also don't think that we were very good. And that's okay. Like, we can have a bad game. If a bad game, think about this. If a bad game means we're gonna tie, it's not horrible. So right now, what are we looking at? We're tired. We had a bad game.
It's not going to get better though.
It's not. It's not, because we're gonna get tired. But what is gonna get better? No. What is gonna get better is that we're not gonna be playing every 3 to 4 games, because we're gonna start after LAFC, which is on Sunday, right? Like I said on the last pod, we're gonna have a week off. Yeah, we're gonna have a week off. Look it up right now. It's on Saturday. Right after.
Yeah, but the issue is then all of these players are going to start playing for their national teams too. So they're still not going to rest, and it's constant.
That's exactly correct. That's exactly correct. So it's not even that they're going to be fatigued. Some of them just will be unavailable. That's a huge issue.
And fatigued when they come back.
Yeah. So I think when we're looking for next year, when we play not to our best, a draw is what we get. That's okay. But right now we're chasing a playoff spot. I mean, we needed to win tonight. Like we said in the last episode, tonight is maybe the last time for a few weeks that we're going to have everyone available to us. Moving forward, Messi is going to be missing. Cremaschi and Calendar are going to be missing. Little pieces here and there are going to be missing, and we're not going to be full strength.
Yeah, I'm worried about when Calendar's off. That's the I mean, of course Messi, but without Calendar, because Messi doesn't play defense. I'm sorry, not in the defensive half. He plays plenty. He's aggressive. He's on the ball, but Calendar covers up so many mistakes from our defense. And
David said that and went back so many.
Yeah, I know. He doesn't. He's not the best defender, but he does go after the ball. But man, I'm worried about when Calendar's off. I think we might drop points there.
Yeah, even today, obviously it was offside, but that block that he made with who was it that shot the ball? It was clear in his face.
Schaffelberg.
Schaffelberg. It was Schaffelberg. It was offside, but he still made a beautiful save, even though it got called back eventually. So yeah, Calendar's gonna be a huge hit. But man, even looking at the Sporting KC match, I think we're down like 10 players that match. Who's playing that night? Like, who are we gonna start? It's gonna be insane. So we got some rough waters up ahead.
It's going to require a lot of rotation and smart rotation from Tata. And granted, we're not always going to be playing Nashville stout defense. with good, smart players. But yeah, this is now the second time that they play us to a draw, and it's showing other teams the blueprint that if you are good in defense and you are committed to playing in the system, you can grind it out, you can muck it up.
Yeah, no, but and that doesn't mean that that we think it's not going to happen still, and the playoffs aren't going to happen and all that stuff. Listen, ultimately, people are gonna try and find ways of beating us. It's okay. It's not like it's not like I think that by any means that we're on the wrong path or anything. Yeah, so we're tired. I think everybody's gonna be tired. We just want a title. Now we're trying to win another title again on the 27th. Um, it's one of those things where we tie the game. It's fine. We'll buckle up and we'll play on Sunday, and we're gonna beat them after that. That's fine. I don't know. It's okay.
I think the tie is okay this game. We had talked about earlier the path to make into the playoffs. That yeah, if we win every game, then we're sitting pretty. But a tie here and there, it's passable. I don't see us. We should not be dropping points at all. I think if there's a fixture that we come out with 0, that might be a death blow. I don't think we should be dropping any game. So no team should be able to find a way to beat us. That is something that I won't accept. And if it happens, then great. We'll come out hopefully with two trophies this season. But I'm expecting 3.
Yeah, and I think you're in your right to expect it, right? We have literally the best player in the world. So, yeah, listen, it's unfortunate. Like I told you, Jose, when you said, "Oh, we're going to win every single game," weird stuff happens in soccer and weird stuff happens in the sport, and sometimes the ball just doesn't roll your way, doesn't bounce your way, and we realistically could have lost tonight. If it weren't for Miller and Calendar, we could have lost.
I thought we were
Jose, man, that cocky Miami fan, it was like hidden in there right now. It was like
it's hard to be cocky when you come off a 0-0 draw.
It wanted to come out, but it was being suppressed. It was weird. I didn't like it. It didn't sound good.
I feel the vibe right now. We're all like down about it. We're like, come on, let's get out of this. We're fine. We just had it. We're gonna wake up tomorrow. We're still gonna have Messi. LAFC's not, and that's that. I mean, I don't care. We'll be back. We'll be back on Sunday, and everybody's gonna cry, and they're gonna be crying about, oh, well, Messi's not fair. Script. Shut up. We're gonna win Sunday. We'll be back. Get over it. It's fine.
That's gonna be a fun trip, and the discourse around that is gonna be like, oh my god, these Europeans haven't had to travel this far for
100%
a league match. This is the furthest. How many time zones are they jumping? Oh, I don't know if they'll be able to adjust to these time zones. So I can't wait to get out of this one and with 3 points, for the love of God. If we drop, God forbid, if we drop that match, they're gonna be like, see, this is why the jump to MLS is hard, Messi. This is why.
Yeah, as if we weren't starting 24 points behind a playoff spot. So, yeah, I find it. I totally agree with you, Dave. The discourse is going to be, these guys have never had to travel cross country like this after just having come back from New York. Now they have to go to LA, and it's so silly. These guys traveled all across Europe. It's not like they weren't playing. They were playing just in their domestic leagues. These guys were playing for European championships year in and year out, and that whole discussion is just so silly. But you're dead on. That's if you listen to any of the mainstream media, they're going to be talking about that all the couple days leading up to the match, because the match is on Sunday already.
It can't get here soon enough, because it's the same thing. Like in the Premier League, yeah, you hop on a bus, you go from Tottenham Stadium to Stamford Bridge. It's not very far, but whatever.
Yeah. Give me a break.
Who gives a crap?
Yeah, and we knew this was going to happen, right? Listen, we are bound to run into a match where we lose. And the discourse after that's going to be like, Messi in turmoil and Inter Miami in turmoil, and it's all gone up in flames and this and that. Listen, these results happen. I think if you had asked us heading into the overview of the remaining 12 matches, Nashville is one that we probably would have circled as this one's going to be a test. And coming out with 1 point is not the end of the world. We're gaining ground on a couple teams that have played tonight as well. And, we keep climbing. We have to just get our results, and however the standings work themselves out in 10 games time, then, hey, that's where the pieces fall. And we look ahead to next year regardless. We want.
There's actually a few key games tonight, Julio, that they actually lost. We were going over it a little while ago. If you want to take a look at that, that helps us as well. We didn't get 0 points. We got our point, and the other teams lost. So whichever way you look at it, we went up a point. So little by little, we got to keep chipping at it. Obviously, we want our 3 points, but this 1 point isn't the end of the world, and they just got to keep going, keep their heads up, and keep it running.
Yeah, so a couple important results that from tonight's matches, like you were saying. New England beat New York Red Bulls. Red Bulls are currently ahead of us. Well, basically everyone except for Toronto is ahead of us. So let me just put that caveat out there now. So New York Red Bulls lost to New England. New York City beat Montreal, which is good and bad. We're chasing both, obviously, but Montreal is currently sitting in one of those play-in positions. We play New York City FC, so we can make up points there, but we'll see about that. And then Chicago lost to Vancouver. That's another big one because they're also in a play-in position. And then everyone else was just higher up, already safe in the playoffs. Toronto won their match, so they're hot on our heels. But if things go according to our plan, then they'll never catch us because we'll just keep staying ahead of them. So, yeah, a lot of positives to take away, even though it was, kind of a drag. But we got to keep looking ahead and looking at the positives. There are things to improve on, no doubt. But this team was last in the league before these players got here. And a lot of them are still integrating. It's not like they come in and just because we played 4, 5, 6 matches that all of them are up to speed. We're not seeing the optimal peak form of any of these players. All of them are still learning the system.
And Tata's still looking for his right group of players to play every match. He's still tinkering. He's still messing with formations. It's a work in progress, and hopefully it gets there soon. Like we said, we have 10 games to go, so he still has some time, and hopefully we could get it right.
So to answer one of the messages, it's the Miami Marlins shirt. It's the Sugar King shirt. That since you had to know. But I'm gonna draw a funny comparison into what we're experiencing now as Miami fans in general, just Miami fandom. Dave, you're gonna get mad because it's not soccer related. So when we had the big three in the Heat, every time we did really well, or really there's just one game, one loss, one win, one loss. It was such a needle mover one way or the other, and I feel like that's where we're heading into it with this team right now, where it's like if we win, wow, we won. Blow up everyone's phones. Did you see what Messi just did? If we lost, my God, the world's coming to an end. We're tied, and I feel like the world's coming to an end a little bit. We're like, wow, how could that happen?
My one point to that, it's a very different situation. A regular season loss for the Heat is not equate to the same as a regular season loss for Inter Miami right now at this stage in the game.
You're right. No, you're right. Like mathematically, you're right. But what I'm saying is,
he's right. Period.
No, because
the point Jose is trying to make is that just the public perception is, oh, see, Nashville proved that Messi can bleed. Like, it's just this is how you beat Miami. Now everything's gonna go south, and Inter Miami, the invincibility. I mean, listen, guys, we're unbeaten still across 10 matches.
We're never lost.
Like, no need to panic. It was going to be an uphill battle no matter what to get to the playoffs, and a draw does not stop us from still achieving that against a good Nashville team.
We got a point against a very good team. It is what it is. It happens. Let's beat the other teams that aren't as good.
Okay, but if we're all being honest, like literally on the preview match, we were all talking about they're not very good. the Vegas right now is already talking about we're heavy favorites. I mean, that's the thing. I agree. Like big picture, not a big deal, right? Because we just pull up four straight wins right now, 3 straight wins. What happened in that Nashville game? I don't remember. But ultimately, like we're gonna need to pull some victories now with some of these guys being out. It is what it is.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, it's not a surprise that we were heavily favored. We're going to be favored in almost every match so long as Messi is even able to play. Like, obviously, the games that he's not there, we'll probably not be favored, to be honest, no matter who we're playing. But if Messi's there, it kind of same thing. It tilts the needle all the way to being we're favored to win. We're expected to win. And we should expect to win if we have the best player by far on the pitch. So I think the panic meter is still medium to low. Like I said, the expectation is to win every match, obviously, but it was going to be a fight to get to the playoffs, and I still think we make it. There were always going to be draws and losses mixed into this run, and this is just one of those draws. Did we want to win? Obviously, but hey, here we are. We move forward.
I have a question for you, Julio. So what happens if Sunday, LAFC, we lose? Where's your panic meter at that point?
Well, it goes slightly higher because it becomes more difficult for us to make it to the playoffs. But we have a lot of matches against East opposition, which is important because the match against LA is not against an Eastern Conference opponent. But right. we have games that are in a way 6-point matchups, right? Because it prevents a team ahead of us from getting 3 points, and it gives us 3 points to catch them. So those games are the most important. This game against Nashville was very important because they're an Eastern Conference opponent. So those matchups are more heavily weighted into my panic meter than LAFC on Sunday. Do I want to win to not have my panic meter go up? Yes. Will my panic meter go up a little bit? Yes, because mathematically we're already in a very difficult fight to make the playoffs. But I don't look at it as everything's on fire and everything is not fine. Like it's going to be okay. All right, so I think we covered pretty much everything that we wanted to touch on for tonight's game. Let us know what you guys thought of the match. Let us know what you guys think moving forward. Join us again next time we go live. I think we're going to try to do live reactions to the matches live on YouTube and Twitter moving forward. And then we'll try to integrate some more live recordings for you guys to be able to interact with us more. Really appreciate everyone that was in chat. For those of you listening on audio platforms, thanks so much for listening all the way through. And we'll catch you guys next time on the Heron Heads podcast, your first place for all things Inter Miami.